Assalamu alaikum, beautiful people. This video will find you when you're ready to activate your ruh. It's going to be a crazy video because I'm pretty sure you're going to be thinking, what do you mean activate the ruh? Allah clearly says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. They ask you about the ruh. Say, قُلْ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. It's from the command of my Lord, and you haven't been given knowledge about the ruh except very little. Very little. What's so crazy is that Allah didn't say you haven't been given any knowledge. Allah says you've been given knowledge, but it's little. So today we're going to be diving deep into this knowledge that's little and extract beautiful, beautiful things from it. Now, again, the way that the Quran works is that it's almost like a web. Every single word and every single ayah, it explains itself. That's why it's so divine. It's a book that's been fully detailed and it explains itself by itself. So if you're confused on a word, you don't have to go to a completely different source to understand what does that word mean. Go through the Quran to see what that word means. Like, to go to another source is to associate a partner with the book. But to go to the book itself and let the book explain to you the book, that's when you extract the gold from it. So when we're talking about the ruh, where did Allah link the ruh to in the Quran? And then if we go deep, the ruh is usually linked with Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Allah says, وَآتَيْنَا عِيسَى ibn Mariam al-bayyinat وَأَيَّدْنَاهُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ. So Allah is saying that almost always when Allah talks about Isa, Allah talks about the ruh as well. Similar to Adam, whenever Allah is talking about Adam, Allah talks about the ruh. وَنَفَخْنَا فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِنَا. So Isa is usually linked with the ruh. But now, when you look at Isa alayhi salam, he is always linked with Mariam alayhi salam. Allah always says, Isa ibn Mariam, Isa ibn Mariam. Always describing Isa as the son of Mariam, which means, again, ruh, Isa, Mariam. So how do you understand the ruh? Through Mariam alayhi salam. So this is what we're going to be going super deep on. The story of Mariam alayhi salam. And to see how is that story related to you activating your ruh. I always say, the Quran talks about yourself. Talks about your inner self. Allah says, وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. There are ayats within yourself. Are you not going to start seeing? When are you going to start seeing? Allah says, وَأَنزَلْنَا كِتَابًا فِيهِ ذِكْرُكُمْ. We sent down a book that has your mention. It's actually talking about you. This exact book right here is talking about you. So it's not giving you these stories. Understand also that these stories of Isa, Musa, Yusuf, people of the cave, the youth of the cave, all these stories, they're known. We've known about these stories. The Bible talked about these stories. In fact, even before the Bible, there were some books that talked about these stories. So when Allah is giving you these stories, once again, Allah is giving it to you from a new light, but it's not talking about just the stories. Allah is using the stories to describe something that's happening within you. That's why even the Surah Al-Anbiya, Allah, that's where He says, فِيهِ ذِكْرُكُمْ. This book has your mention. So forget the story. The story is just here to lead you to something. What is that thing? An inner change. A connection to the divine through the stories. That's why Allah says, وَالْقُرْآنِ ذِي ذِكْرُ. The Quran has the dhikr. When you use the Quran to do dhikr, you connect yourself back to Allah. So now, let's go deep into the story of Mariam. So this whole video is going to be long. So all I ask of you is just to pay attention. Don't be distracted. And take notes. Once you understand what Mariam means in the Quran, and what the symbolism in her story means, and what the miracles of Isa means, you'll discover one of the most beautiful hidden things in the Quran that will literally help you ascend. It will literally change your life. Like when I say it's going to change your life, Habibi, it's really going to change your life. So before we get deep into the process of Mariam, and how, if you follow her example, you will reach the same consciousness as Isa alayhi salam, and then activate the power of the ruh within you, let's first understand what her name even means. Again, nothing in the Quran is here by accident. Nothing. So even the name and the way that the name is spelled in the Quran has a meaning. So let's go deep. So if you break the name of Mariam in terms of the sound and the lettering, if you break it apart, it'll give you two different words. The first word is mar, and the second word is yam. And this will give you a meaning on not just Mariam being this Virgin Mary sitting somewhere in the Middle East, and then she gave birth, and then this human was talking and all that stuff, and she was not touched by a man. It's not just that. It's actually way deeper than that. And Allah wants you to truly think about, what does it truly mean? Mar, yam. Mar means, again, we use the Quran to explain the Quran. Where did the word marra, get used in the Quran? And then when you go and you search up the word mar in the Quran, how did it get used? Almost always the meaning is to pass through, to flow, to traverse, or to be bitter. So it can mean a difficult passage, movement through trial, or bitterness that purifies. So in the Quran, marra, to pass through, means to pass without attachment. And this is the soul passing through the field of matter. Bitterness, when you look at matter is dense. To pass through it, it's a very hard process. So Mariam is the soul passing through the field of matter, which is a traveler that's detached, but feeling the bitterness of the world. So this is passing through. But then you connect it. Passing through what exactly? Is it just matter? Passing through what exactly? Marra min al-yam. From the yam. What is al-yam? Yam means, in the Quran, Allah says al-yam means sea or vast water. What's the proof? When the mother of Musa, she was putting baby Musa in the water, Allah says it's the same root word used when baby Musa was placed. Fil yam, alqayhi fil yam, in the sea. So symbolically, Allah's telling you, Mariam is the one that's passing through the sea. What is the sea? Go deep into the Quran. It's the unconscious depth. It's the ocean of creation. Allah made two bahar, remember? The seen world and the unseen world. So the sea is the unconscious self. You passing through the unconscious self. Mariam is the one who passes through the sea. So her name itself is the movement from matter through the waters of the unseen, al-yam. So Mariam, to put it simply, is the symbol of passing through the subconscious self, becoming aware of the deep, hidden, unconscious things within you. So Mariam is literally the symbol of meditation itself. That's what meditation is, Habibi. When you sit down and you become aware of the things that are unconscious within you. As Joe Dispenza would say, it's like taking a match and lighting it in a dark room. That's what meditation is, and that's what Mariam, the name Mariam, truly is. It's going within. It's becoming aware of the hidden things that lie within you. That's what Mariam is. And her whole story is proof of exactly that. And then what happens when you do exactly that? The process. So Mariam is a process. Don't just be thinking of her as a person. Mariam is a process. The process of passing through the unconscious ocean of yourself. So let's go deep into this process of Mariam, the way that Allah describes it, and let's get some fruits out of this process. Allah says in Surah Mariam itself, فَانْتَبَذَتْ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا مَكَانًا شَرْقِيًّا. Allah says, she withdrew from her people to a place toward the east. Now to go east is to go inward, toward the source of the light in the head. To go east is to go towards the inner sunrise. It could mean to go towards the pineal, to go toward the mashriq of the spirit. Allah's telling you in this ayah that Mariam, she withdrew. Fantabathat means that she withdrew. Like imagine a seed leaving the pod, she just withdrew from ahliha. What does ahliha mean? Ahliha is her people. When you leave your family, you're leaving the place where you formed your thoughts. You're leaving the place where you formed your identity. You're leaving the place where you formed who you are. So you're leaving the place with thousands thoughts, the memories, the social identity. So that's what she did. Mariam, she went from a place where she was in an environment that was familiar to a place where Allah describes as sharqiyya. So what does that mean? I said sharqiyya, and again, this is just my own tadabbur of the Quran. Sharqiyya could mean the right brain hemisphere awakening. What that means, sharqiyya means the east. east is right. I'm saying that this could be the emotional brain. It could be going past the analytical mind, which is the left brain. The reason why that is because when you leave the environment, when you take your attention off the environment, what starts happening is that you go from the analytical mind, left brain hemisphere dominance, to the right brain hemisphere dominance, from a state of beta to a state of alpha in your brain. You went from analyzing everything to now you're feeling. Now you're in tune with the emotions. You're feeling more. And in the modern sense, this means slowing down your brainwave. That's why I always say slow down your brainwave when you're stressed. Slowing it down from beta to alpha. And beta is ego. It's fear. It's stuck in thoughts. But alpha is stillness. So when Allah's saying that she left her family, she left the familiar self to a place towards the east, I'm saying it could mean a place towards light, inner light, because sharq, east, is where the light comes out, a place with illumination. But then if you want to get really scientific and really deep within it, sharqiyya, east, right, could mean the right hemisphere brain. That means Allah is literally describing that she went from noise, ahliha, to stillness, from beta to alpha, from left brain hemisphere to right brain hemisphere. Do you see what I mean? What's Allah describing? Allah is literally describing what happens during meditation. What happens when you sit down and go inward? When you take your attention off the environment and you go inward toward the light. Which is very beautiful. So that's the soul. Mariam is the soul, yourself, the nafs, detaching from the crowd of thoughts. And this is again from the same word as ishraq, which is the inner radiance, placed towards the east, could mean to the point of the emergence of light. So within you. Again, how do you access this light that's within you? Slow down your brainwave. And that's what's, in my own tadabbur, that's what Allah is describing right here. So the first motion of the story is to go inward. The human awareness separating from noise and entering its eastern chamber, the right chamber, which is the right brain hemisphere, the inner dawn point, where the light comes when you slow down the thoughts, when you slow down the brain activity. That's the first thing that she did. The second thing that she did, فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِن دُونِهِمْ حِجَابًا. What's Allah describing? She placed a veil between herself and them. Who's them? Herself, her past self, her familiar self, the familiar environment, the familiar thoughts. When you sit down and you do the same thing that she did, your brain is gonna bring something to you that's familiar. Go back, go drink your coffee, Habibi. What are you doing? Don't you usually take a shower at this time? Don't you usually eat your eggs? Go do something. The body does not want to sit. The ego doesn't want to sit in stillness. It doesn't want that. Because when you go through that, it's like a death of the ego, the death of the fake self. And that's the analytical mind. What you're supposed to be doing is to take your attention off the environment, go inward toward the light. And I already told you that the light of Allah is within you. So sharqiyya is going towards the light. When you go towards the light, you slow down your brainwave. But Allah here is saying she placed a veil between herself and that. Now a veil, Allah is saying hijaban. Does hijaban mean like the scarf that we put on our heads? No. What's happening here, Allah is saying that she put a barrier. She put a screen. Something that blocks her from her and her environment. So in ordinary Arabic, this is what separates light from shadow. So it's not a garment, it's the moment of withdrawal from the sensory input. So she literally went away, blocked herself from the environment. Which means no more seeing, no more hearing, no more touching, nothing. Nothing. So this is the closing of the external gates. Even speech, no more speech. It's the veil of silence before the divine conception. And this is why Allah always describes Mariam, وَمَرْيَمَ ابْنَةَ عِمْرَانَ الَّتِي أَحْصَنَتْ فَرْجَهَا. She protected her farj. And we talked about what farj means. Farj is not just private parts. Farj is the thing that allows openings. So for example, your eye is the doorway to your mind. Your ear, the doorway to your mind. These are furuj. They're open. She blocked everything. She protected everything. This also means she didn't let any idea come into her mind. And you'll see the proof when we continue. She didn't let anything external come into her. That's what Allah is describing right here, which is again very, very beautiful. So again, what did we talk about so far? Withdrew from the environment, from anything familiar, closed off everything. Allah is literally describing the process of meditation, to be aware of the unconscious things that are happening within you. Then Allah says, once she did that, فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. Oftentimes people say that Jibreel or some spirit came down to her and told her in a human form and told her something. Now, Allah never said the word Jibreel in this ayah. Allah could have literally said the word Jibreel. Allah does not forget, does not make mistakes, does not misguide. Allah knows what He's doing. Allah knows what to do. Allah, when He's saying the word ruh, ruhana, our spirit from here, doesn't just mean Jibreel. Allah used the word Jibreel in a completely different ayah before, so Allah could have used that same word right here again. So then, again, learn the Quran through the Quran, because Allah Himself says, Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran. He's the one that taught the Quran. So then what does this whole ayah mean right here? Let's look at the words and see how did these words become used in the Quran elsewhere. So here I translated it as we sent to her our spirits, which appeared to her as a balanced human. But what I want you to remember right now is that Mariam in this state, she's away from the environment. She's not looking at anybody. She's not listening to anybody. She's not talking to anybody. Because she has a hijab. She blocked everything. Which means that whatever is happening to her right now is within. It's not outside, it's within. The context really matters. It matters. So Allah is saying something happened within her. Now, ruh is the unseen current that brings life and expansion. This is what animates awareness itself. It's a wave of the divine vitality that entered her field of consciousness. The body without the ruh is just matter. It's just empty. It's just nothing. It's just dirt. That's all it is. With the ruh, you become a human. Allah says, فَنَفَخْنَا فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِنَا. At first, Adam was created from clay. He was just clay. He was just there. Form. That's all he was. As soon as Allah breathed from His ruh into the clay, that clay became a human. That clay became the thing that Allah says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. We honored this right here, the one with the life. That's what ruh is. It's the thing within you that gives you life. So Allah is saying, and by the way, ruh from the root words could also mean movement into spaciousness or relief or ease or comfort, because the same word, you get the word raha, which is ease or rest. You get the word rih, which is wind, and you get the word rawh, which is spirit when it returns at evening. So again, all of that means is this thing that's formless, hidden, can't really see it, that is within you, is the thing that gives you life. Now Allah's saying, this ruh right here, from Allah, تمثل, it took form. Mathala means it took form. It became something. It became manifest. It went from the unseen to the seen. So now, almost like she's in her inner self, she's looking at something. Now, it doesn't mean that a body came out of nowhere, out of thin air, and now it's talking to her. It means the immaterial took on a form, and this form could be perceived inside. The ruh became something that can be perceived. So the formless ruh makes itself recognizable inside the perception. Allah says, bashar. This ruh became bashar. So bashar comes from the word skin, which means that which touches the surface. So the ruh takes on a skin, not necessarily a human body, but an outer image that the mind can handle. It became something that her brain, her inner self can handle. And remember, everything here is happening inside her, because she can't see the environment anymore. Then Allah says, sawiya, to be even. Sawiya means to be even, to be level, to be balanced, to be complete. So the same word as sawa, which is equality, harmony. So the form, it appeared as perfectly proportioned. It was neither left nor right. No imbalance, no distortion. Almost like a harmonious presence that happened within her. And this is why my theory, listen to this, my theory is that it could have literally been her pineal gland became activated. Because when Allah is talking about she took on a hijab, the word right here, and just listen to this. فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِن دُونِهِمْ حِجَابًا, she took away from them a hijab. The pineal is right here. What are the chances that your eyebrow is called, in Arabic is called hawajib? What are the chances that it could have literally been like her seeing became clear inside herself and she was able to see through the pineal gland? Because the pineal gland is an eye in of itself. This is the basira within you. So she was able to see inside her. This is just a theory. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I have no idea. But I'm giving you this theory because sharqiyya could mean the right brain hemisphere, which is responsible for the emotion. So once Mariam concealed herself from the environment, there is no more light outside. So what happens is that she reached a state of harmony, of balance, of a state in the middle, which happens in the pineal, which means now she's seeing a light. This is what happens, by the way, when you're in deep meditation. You start seeing light. You start seeing things. So that means when the heart becomes silent after her withdrawal and after her hijab, the veil, the divine current and manifest becomes seen within consciousness as a balanced perception, something that you can see in front of you. Not with these eyes, but with your inner eyes, your inner eye. So there's no man that entered the room, but she experienced an experience of harmony, of balance, sawiyya, taking shape inside her awareness. So that balance is the meeting point of the seen, which is the bashar, the surface, and the unseen, which is the ruh, the life within. My other theory, and this is the one that makes more sense to be honest, is that this exact ayah, basharan sawiyya, ruhana, basharan sawiyya, literally is describing the state of gamma. Gamma. This ayah is showing when her brain reached the gamma brainwave. So listen to this. Mariam first leaves her people, which means there's no more noise, no more thoughts, no more social things. She went from beta to alpha. She went towards a place towards the east. The attention moves inward. That's alpha. And then she placed the hijab. The sensory gates, they close. The mind goes quiet. That's theta. So she went from beta to alpha to theta. Now, pure stillness. So when you're in the state, when you're in theta, that's what happens before you get insight. So Allah is literally saying that after she took the hijab, she reached the state of insight. We sent to her our spirit, appearing as the balanced form, telling you that a flash of coherent awareness, the formless energy suddenly took form inside her consciousness. So it means that her brain just started firing coherently. That's gamma right here. When everything becomes one integrated perception. That's when the left and the right, they're in union. When the mind and the heart, they're in union, in coherence. So Mariam's inner field, now it's holding perfect coherence right here. So symbolically, this is illumination. And physiologically, it's the whole brain synchronization. That's the gamma state. This is when awareness is birthing light. And what's so beautiful is that I remember even Joe Dispenza, when he describes the state, it's like when your whole being is healing itself. Because now, you're almost like you're gone, and the ruh is activated within you. The ruh is activated. So now, let's just say you're extremely sick, and you're in the state where you're surrendered completely, because that's what she did. The ruh that Allah sent within you heals everything inside, where your DNA becomes different. Your genes, the new genes become activated. Some genes become suppressed. New proteins are being created in your body. Basharan sawiyya. Your whole body is different now. Your whole brain is like firing new neurons, linking new neurons. You're becoming an entirely new person, different person, someone that's healed, someone that's touched by the divine. That's what Allah is describing right here. Like, it's so beautiful, so beautiful. Allah gave you the process step by step, step by step. Become conscious of the unconscious that's happening within you. Mar min al-yam. Stay away. Withdraw yourself. Go into seclusion away from the familiar environments. Place a hijab within, because once you've done that, beta to alpha. place a hijab within you, meaning no more sensory inputs. Alpha to theta. Stay there. Stay there. Allah will send His ruh in a bashar, sawiya. Allah will make you a bashar, sawiya, a balanced human, where everything is healed. Everything is back to coherence. You're synchronized once again. You're not addicted to the stress hormones once again. You're not the same you anymore. It's the most beautiful thing I've seen, bro. Where Allah just gave it to you just like that. And the whole time we thought, it's so beautiful. Then Mariam alayhi salam says, قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. She said, I seek refuge in the All-Merciful from you if you're truly pure. So now this is what's happening. So she got new energy that's coming. Now Allah's saying, Mariam, which is the one that's being aware of what's happening. If you're in meditation and then you start seeing this, you're gonna start, like, something's happening. You don't know what's happening, bro. You don't know what's happening. So the best thing to do, and this is what she did, is that attach yourself to love itself. Attach yourself to the infinite itself. Go back, center yourself back to Allah. Ar-Rahman specifically. That's what's happening. So Mariam, the awareness, the self, grounds itself in love. Ar-Rahman. And what starts happening is that if you have any fear within you, any negative emotions, because Allah, whenever He uses the word a'udu, it's to say when you move away from something bad to Allah. So Allah's saying that anything that's bad, anything that's negative within you, that's satanic, devilish, from the shaitan, reattach yourself back to Allah. Back to Allah. And once you do that, then this energy becomes fully positive. Well, almost like this energy will come to heal you only, not to cause any harm. So those people that say, what's so sad is that I've seen some TikTok videos of Muslims that come and say, they're like, oh man, these people, the ilm al-taqa, the science of energy, it's all just fake stuff. Forget about all of this. Just go do your salah, go up and down a few times, and you're good. You'll reach heaven. That's it. And I feel so sad because I'm like, what about all these stories that Allah told you, where they're literally in symbolism describing your inner state? What are you going to say about all these things? No, these stories, they're just from the past. Asatirul awwaleen. It's so sad. Like, these ayat are so alive. These ayat are so alive. They're literally talking to you. Why do I say they're alive? Because they came from Al-Hayy, the ever-living, the one that never dies, that's always here. Out of His mercy, Allah introduced these teachings to us, and Allah wants you to think about them. Allah says, don't rush in the Quran, because if you rush, the wahi will become cut. Which means, these teachings right now, when I'm showing all these things to you, this took me, I think, 2 weeks of just constantly thinking about this. I've made a few videos about this, but this is the newest one where I'm like, this is crazy level knowledge. It took me weeks to finally understand what's happening here. And even now, I don't even think I fully understand what's happening here. When you rush, and immediately you give meaning to the word, oh, Bashar al-Sawiya means that a Jibreel came down to her and said this to her. That's all it means. Anything else, don't worry about it. We're just gonna rush. Like, imagine the most loving gave you a message, and you're like, it means this. That's it. That's all that it means. That's it. It's so sad. Take your time with it. Sit down with it. Meditate on it. Do tafakkur on it. Contemplate on it. Truth does not need qualifications. You can do it on your own. You can sit down right now, think about these things on your own. I can't sleep anymore. When I'm trying to sleep, I'm just constantly thinking about this. It's actually so beautiful. So that's when fear got converted to reverence and awe. So what I'm saying to you is, don't be scared. Don't be scared. These are not devils within you. These are not devils. That's why Allah's saying that she said, A'udhu bir-Rahmani mink in kunta taqiyya. Say this. Connect yourself back to Allah. Nothing will harm you. How could anything harm you if you're connected back to Ar-Rahman? Truly. So gamma is sustained by that heart-based coherence, and without compassion being connected to Ar-Rahman, the flash collapses back to beta chaos. So Allah's telling you, connect yourself back to the one, Ar-Rahman. And Ar-Rahman comes from the word Rahim. Rahim. So it means inside the womb is when, like babies inside the womb, the reason why they're so relaxed is because everything is being met. Their needs are being met, their food's being met, everything is just being met. So Allah's telling you, you've always had your needs met. Connect yourself to the one that always had your needs met. And Allah always has your needs met. Then, قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. So the insight that came to her says, I am a Rasul from the one that literally has your needs met, your nourisher, your Rabb. لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. I'm only a messenger of your Lord to grant you a pure son. So what does this mean? Now, Rasul Rabbik, it means a signal, a message. Rasul, from the word Risala, doesn't just mean a prophet. Doesn't just mean like some human came and then it means someone that came with a message. Someone that came with a message. So the Quran right now is a Rasul, because it's the one with a message. It's the Rasul that's alive within our era. The one is giving you the message. From your higher intelligence, your Rabb, the one that's been nurturing you the entire time. The one, Rabb is the one that's been growing you. So that's where that thing is coming from. So those people that say, oh no, when you go into deep meditation, you're going to be met with devils and all that stuff. Allah's literally saying, Rasul Rabbik. That's who she's meeting. Is she meeting this person, this signal, message, being in person? No. Allah says that she withdrew from the environment, a hijab. So this is all happening within. And this happens within you, by the way. This happens within you. When you truly go through the inner work, you'll see this happening within you. Then it says, li'ahab. Now li'ahab means to bestow, to cause to flow, to infuse. It means to give something effortlessly. Something breathed in without effort. A gift that's given with no effort. So it means to breathe or gift into you. غُلَامًا زَكِيًّا. Does this only mean ghulam? The word ghulam, does it only mean a boy? I'm going to be giving you a boy and that's it. It doesn't only mean a boy, Habibi. It's a fresh, emerging strength, new force, new mind, completely new self. From the word ghulum, which is youth, raw energy, this readiness to grow. And zakiya means pure, refined, self-growing. So Allah is telling her, you will be getting a self-growing vitality, a self-growing new mind, a new frequency pattern, something new that's pure, a new self that's pure. That's what happens within you, and that's what I told you. Your body becomes renewed. And then she says, how can I have a son when no one touched me? Now, I should have actually wrote the entire ayah right here, but Mariam says, وَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ. And that's how I would say, I'm like, my nail was long, right? I'm like, she's not just talking about, she didn't say, no man has touched me. She said, no bashar has touched me. Bashar, in usual Arabic, man and woman. Why didn't she say, no rajul or no dhakar has touched me? She's not saying no male has touched me. She's saying nothing as bashar touched me. And what does bashar mean? Is it just a human and that's it? Nothing external has touched her. Meaning, no teacher gave her an idea. No ideology entered into her. No external influence. Nothing entered into her. This is pure receptivity. The heart is basically saying, no concept, no doctrine, no teacher has ever touched me. So how am I getting something new when nothing touched me? And this is what people usually say when I tell them sit in stillness, sit in meditation. People usually say, what's next? What am I supposed to be doing next? I tell them, nothing. You don't do anything next. And then they say, but don't I need something? Don't I need something to like, so I can become something? And I tell them, no. Nothing needs to touch you for you to be reborn. All of it is already within you. The RUH is already within you. Don't wait to be touched by a new idea, a new thing, so you can become someone new. You don't need anything. So the birth that's coming doesn't come even from intellect. It comes from the direct spirit contact. And that's why I say all you gotta do is just trust Allah. You don't need something external. It's all within. And that's the meaning of light upon light. Nurun ala nur. That's the meaning of light upon light. Because when you look at that ayah, Allah's telling you, تَكَادُ زَيْتُهَا يُضِيء وَلَوْ لَمْ تَمْسَسْهُ نَارٌ. The light, the oil, it almost like it wants to ignite, but no fire has touched it. What that means is that it's a self-illuminating being within you. Self-sustaining being within you. It doesn't need anything. It does things by itself. Then Allah says, Huwa alayya hayyin. Your Lord says, it is easy for me. So the descent of insight, the kalima, the seed of light, doesn't require effort. It will be a sign for humanity and mercy. So every inner realization is a mercy. Every small birth of truth inside you is Isa being born once again. Then Allah says, she conceived him and retired to a distant place. And at the moment that awareness conceives the divine truth, it retreats deeper inward. Distant place means stillness that's beyond thoughts. You go so deep into stillness that now you've surpassed the mind. You've surpassed you completely. And that's the embryo of illumination. It needs quiet darkness to finally grow, to come out in you, within you. Now, this video is almost 40 minutes. So we're going to have to do part number 2, because the imagery, the symbolism is not done yet. Because she goes to the nakhla and then she says, well, I wish I had died before this. What does all of that mean? And then when the baby comes out, the baby starts stalking in the cradle. What does all of that mean? And then her fasting from speech, what does all of that mean? And then in that same, people call her Ya Ukhta Harun, the sister of Harun. What does all of that mean? Is she really the sister of Harun? Doesn't that mean she's the sister of Musa? Doesn't that mean that Isa is the... What does all that mean? Does it really mean that? And I told you it doesn't mean that at all. It's actually completely different than from what we've sadly learned. But it's way more beautiful. I'm not ending the video yet because I want to give you something practical, something for you to do until we do part number 2. So let's go deep into Isa, because this whole process of Mariam is the process of birthing Isa within you. How do you do that? And what does that even mean? What does that even mean? I know the video has been long, 40 minutes, but I don't usually like making super long videos, even though I always do. But I appreciate your attention. You've been paying such beautiful attention if you're still watching, and I hope that what you've been learning is not only practical but beautiful at the same time. So Isa means the word made audible. We'll go deep on that. Al-Masih, Allah says Al-Masih Isa, the word Masih comes from the word Mas, so the one who wipes, the one who wipes. And the act of Mas, Allah actually uses the word Wamsahu. وَامْسَحُوا رُؤُوسَكُمْ. When Allah is describing how to wash yourself when you're going into salah. So this is the same order when Allah says wipe your heads. So in Arabic nuance, to wipe is to remove something thin and something persistent, any dust, any oil. So when Allah says wipe your head, linguistically it says, symbolically it means remove the accumulated ideas from your ras, from your head, from your brain, the leader. Your head is the leader, the mind. And that's the work of the Masih in you. When the Masih Isa becomes born through the process of Mariam, that means the word that crosses your field of consciousness, that's wiping away every old imprint. So Isa is not a doctrine. Again, they always say that the Christ didn't come to teach a religion. The Christ came to show you what's within you. The Christ consciousness, as they usually say. So Isa is not a doctrine. It didn't come and tell you be this or be that or do this and do that. No. Al-Masih Isa is the moment that your thinking mind is wiped and a new frequency crosses it. That's Masih. That's what Masih Isa means. When you're completely reborn reborn. A new you, a new mind. That being said, what are we supposed to be doing? What to do? Allah says, وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ فِي نَفْسِكَ تَضَرُّعًا وَخِيفَةً وَدُونَ الْجَهْرِ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ بِالْغُدُوِّ وَالْآصَالِ وَلَا تَكُنْ مِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. Again, the word غافلين is to be heedless. How do you become heedless? Inside you. When your attention is all over the place, when you're not focused. وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ. Allah says, remember your Lord. How do you remember your Lord? فِي نَفْسِكَ. Inside. تَضَرُّعًا وَخِيفَةً. In humility. And it says in fear, but it's in awe. Awe. In surrender and awe. Like you're so amazed by the presence of Allah within you. وَدُونَ الْجَهْرِ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ. And without even using speech. That's what Allah is telling you. بِالْغُدُوِّ وَالْآصَالِ. In the morning and in the evening. Why am I telling you this? Because this ayah right here literally describes what's happening within Mariam alayhi salam. So Allah is telling you, remember Allah inside you, in silence, morning and night. And that's the practice that I want to give you. This is all from the Quran, by the way, which is so beautiful. Very, very beautiful. So the very first thing you do is to withdraw. Allah says, فَانْتَبَذَتْ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. Withdraw from your familiar self. Sit somewhere that you're not going to be disturbed. No phone, not even lights, back straight, relaxed. Step away from the people, which is the stream of roles, who you are, what your identity is, what you do, what you've done today, the notification, the thoughts. Withdraw from everything and place a veil. Close the outer gates, rest your eyes, close your eyes, still the tongue, soften the hearing, don't be focused on the environment, bring your attention inward. That's your hijab. Away from the environment, inward. As you do this, when you take your attention off what's happening around you, off the noise, you're going to go from beta to alpha. And let the breath settle on its own. Breathe normally. So this hijab is the silence from the environment. You can even keep the room dark if you want. And then turn east. Makana sharqiyya. So bring the attention to the heart. Why the heart specifically? Allah says, different ayat. فإنما لا تعمى الأبصار ولكن تعمى القلوب التي في الصدور. Allah says, نزل به الروح الأمين على قلبك. Allah sent down the ruh on your heart. And Allah says, it's not the eyes, it's not the basar, it's not the inner seeing that gets blind, it's the heart that gets blind. So you're supposed to be activating the heart. That's going towards the east to a place where the light is there. Where's the light? In the heart. When thoughts appear, do the same thing that Mariam does. Let them pass across the sea of awareness within you. Because what we're doing is the process of Mariam. And while you're in this process, when things, feelings, images, things come, don't chase, don't fight them. Just reattach yourself. A'udhu means to reattach yourself back to who? Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman. Remember to always reattach yourself back to the infinite love, Allah. And stay there. How often are you supposed to be staying there? You could be doing this daily, morning and night, 10 to 15 minutes, dawn or night. And if nothing happens, don't worry. This process is not going to happen one day and that's it. It'll take time. Could take a year. And Mariam's first act was withdrawal and veil. That's what you need to be doing as well. That's what you need to be doing as well. You do this, by the way, the video is not even done. There's way more stuff that's left. But I think this is enough so that I don't overwhelm you. You do this slowly. You're going to go past the self and activate the ruh that's within you. The knowledge that Allah gave about the ruh is little. It's through symbolism. It's there. You need to be using your mind to think about it, to ponder upon it, to extract it out. Such video you won't ever see. You won't see such videos on YouTube. At least I haven't seen myself. But such knowledge is so beautiful. So beautiful. What's crazy, by the way, is that in Surah Mariam, Allah talked about Zakaria alayhi salam, and Allah says that Zakaria was yusalli fil mihrab. He was in the prayer place and he was praying, yusalli, connecting to Allah. And then Allah describes Ibrahim alayhi salam. Then Allah describes Musa. Allah is describing all these prophets. And then Allah says when the ayat of Allah are recited upon them, خَرُّوا سُجَّدًا وَبُكِيًّا. they go into sujood, which is inner stillness, and bukiya, which is just like crying from being connected. And that's what's going to happen when you're so connected. Tears will start flowing because it feels so beautiful. But immediately after that, Allah says, فَخَلَفَ مِن بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ أَضَاعُوا الصَّلَاةِ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ. They left the salat and they followed their desires. This is just my own foreshadowing about the video that I told you I'll do about salat. Because the only reason why Allah mentioned all these prophets and what they do, Mariam, Zakaria, Ibrahim, Musa, and what they do, and then Allah mentions salat, is important. It's not by accident. It shows you that what they were doing was actually salat. So what does really salat mean in the Quran? And that's for a whole different video. But I'm hoping that from this you've benefited. I really hope you've benefited. I benefited a lot even just writing this. But if you find this helpful, be excited for part number 2. I don't know when it's going to come out, but it's going to come out someday. I don't want to rush with the Quran. That's what Allah says. Don't rush with the Quran. But if this was helpful, Habibi, let me know.